And welcome back. It's World Takes Time once again. Today we are going over the 9.5 patch notes. Today is December 17th. I had to check the date. Patch is allegedly going to be released in about a week. So I wanted to take the time, since we hit third iteration just a couple days ago, to go over the patch notes. And then I've done two other videos going over the tanks, which I'll talk about in a bit, and the personal missions, also talk about in a bit. But until that point, I just wanted to say 9.5 is coming out. I'm excited about it. Some big changes coming out, so it should be good. Let's get underway, shall we? Let's see patch notes down here. All right, here we go. So this is the basic stuff, basic information. We've got two updates. I think that's fine. So let's see. Main features are personal missions. Personal missions, which I'll link to on the screen and also below. There are 4 tanks you can possibly get for personal missions. There is the Stug, the German Tier 5 tank destroyer, the Stug 4. I would say Stug, and I think that's technically the wrong pronunciation. The Stug 4. There is the T-28 concept. They're not to be confused with the T-28 or the T-28 prototype. The T-28 concept, which is a Tier 7 American tank destroyer. There is the T-55A, which is a Russian Tier 9 medium tank. And the Object 260, which is a Russian Tier 10 heavy tank. Now these 4 tanks are all... I don't know the best way to refuse it. I think pseudo... how would I put that up? Pseudo premium. Basically, you can use them for crew training, but they don't get a bonus to credit gain. So they gain credits like a normal tank would, but you can use them for crew training. So kind of interesting. It's just a nice change. But that's covered in another video, so I won't talk about that much more. Also, new British vehicle branch. A bunch of new vehicles here. Starting from Tier 2 going up to the Firefly. So it's M2 Stuart 1.4, well, it's technically the Grant. It's an M3 Lee, but the M3 Grant. Sherman 3, and then Sherman Firefly is 1 tree. And then the other one comes off the Valentine, and it goes Archer, Achilles, Challenger, Conway. God, I can't remember. Goes from the Valentine. It goes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And the 10 is basically a lighter armored version of the FE215B183. Again, that's in another video, which I will link in the video and down below as well. And finally, there are 3 new maps. There is Mitten Guard. Mitten Guard is a low tier only map, and it sounds like what they're going to do is make it a number of battles on your account limited map. My guess is probably somewhere around 1,000 to 2,000 battles, which means if you have more than that, you're never going to see that even if you play lower tier tanks. It's effectively going to be a newbie map, 100%. And the design of it is definitely to force players to engage. Ghost Town is a team battle only map. So you'll only see that. I think it's designed more towards esports. So that's not in the regular rotation. That's Ghost Town there. And then Winterberg is Ruinberg, but in the winter. Winterberg. The reason for this we will get to in a minute. So this is how it works. Blah, 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 blah. There we go. Oh, come on, scroll down. Okay, apparently it decided it didn't want to load the rest of my thing. So let's hope this works here. That will work. Let me... that's fine. Okay, so we'll just do it this way, and I'll zoom in here so we can take a look at this. All right, so apparently that one didn't want to work, so we're going to do it over in Chrome because Firefox is amazing, apparently. All right, here we go. So, oh, that's why. Okay, I figured it out. Whatever. here we go. So, blah, blah, blah. Payments, that's all stuff. Okay, public test notes. Here we go. So, the most recent iteration, they fixed some text and personal missions. Doesn't matter. Visual models for the FE 4005 and the Firefly. That's great. Some camo issues for these tanks. This is a new Tier 6 Russian Premium. Then lightweight, we know 4 Offs H, T-34, STA-2 is new Japanese Tier 8 Premium. So we've got 2 new premiums here. Index of brightness, this is the minimap change, minor interference. This is iteration number 2, which I think is all of this stuff. Okay, cool. So, and they adjusted the personal missions. Oh yeah, this is additions for iteration 2, which is they changed the parameters, which is great. Blah 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 blah. Anything important here? No. Okay, new content. Here we go. And I don't see. What I'm looking for is the map change, which I don't see, but I know it's there. Okay, we'll get there. All right, so new content, personal missions. So personal missions, we'll cover in another video, which I mentioned before. Basically, there are 15 missions for each tank type. So light tanks, medium tanks, heavy tanks, tank destroyers, and SPGs. If you complete all 15 missions, then you get 4 commemoration tokens, or if you get the secondary objective on the last mission, you get 5, and it requires 20 tokens to unlock the tank. Which means if you get the secondary on 4 trees, you don't have to do the 5th one. Otherwise, you have to do the 5th one. And there's 15 for each tree for each tank. So 15 for each type of tank for each tank you want. Which now the missions are functionally the same, just for every tank you go for, they get progressively harder. So the Stug 4 is the easiest, the T28 is harder, the T55 is harder than that, and the Object 260 is the hardest. All right, and that's all covered in another video. New branch of British tank and tank destroyers, which we talked about again, which is the M2, the Stuart 1, the Grant 1, the Sherman 3, the Archer, the Sherman Firefly, the Achilles, the Challenger/Avenger, the Charioteer, the Conway, and the Stage 2. I'm really excited to see these tanks. I think that it adds a lot of depth to the British line that it didn't have previously, especially along the tank destroyers. Personally, I'm having a hard time getting through the AT line, but these tank destroyers, the Archer, and then these guys, I'm very excited about because they are more mobile, less armored, with good hitting guns with low rates of fire, which is more what I like out of a tank destroyer than the rapid fire, reasonably high pen, low damage, slow, heavily armored tanks that are so characteristic of the AT line. All right, new maps. Mitten Guard we talked about. That's lower battle levels. That was, and then Ghost Town, and then Winter Ruinberg. Now, the reason why they're adding Winter Ruinberg or Winterberg is because they are removing 2 maps, which I don't... Oh, yeah, there it is. So that's not a map, so we'll cover that in just a bit. All right, vehicles only for Super Test players. This AMX Shashu Dashar is a Tier 8 Premium Medium Tank. There's this 1357, which is a Tier 7 Premium Light Tank, I think. The STA-2, this dash is in the wrong spot. It's STA-2, is a Premium Tier 8 tank. The ISU-130 is another test, blah, 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 blah. Tanks that we don't get to see because it's super test only. Maps. Severogorsk and Ruinberg on Fire have been removed. Let me find a map of Severogorsk here in just a bit. All right, here we go. So I'm going to bring it over here so you guys can see. This is Severogorsk. So you can see it here. So you see, 2 spawn points, the big trench in the middle, with the hills on one side and the other. That one's going away. So that one's gone. You're not going to see it anymore. Say goodbye. Frankly, I'm not going to miss it. And then Ruinberg on Fire, which is just the Ruinberg with the fire and it was darker, is being removed and replaced with Winterberg, or Winter Ruinberg. The reason for that, they say, is because the map was too dark. So they figured filling it with snow and increasing the brightness would make it more palatable. I just wish they wouldn't have the same map. I mean, I like the idea of having multiple seasons of maps. I just hope that it's balanced out so that we don't see Ruinberg a ton in the map rotation. All right. Some surface features fixed for Fisherman's Bay, Mountain Pass, and Windstorm. That's fine. That's probably working on fixing. Every once in a while you'll see a video of a tank like spinning out of control or flying or something. A lot of those are created by surface features that don't mesh well with the physics engine. And so essentially what happens is the physics engine tries to move the tank out of this funky feature. And by doing that, it effectively gives the tank a really high velocity in a specific direction. And then the physics engine takes over from that point and goes, oh man, the tank just should be moving very quickly in whatever particular direction, whether it's up or whether it's to the left or to the right or whatever. And that's why sometimes you'll see tanks launched and sometimes you'll see tanks spun and any number of things. That's basically what it is. It's a programming issue where the physics engine and the collision models are at odds. Gameplay issues with Stalingrad, I'm not sure what those are. Fixed issue with the ability to drive outside the boundaries of the Windstorm and Mountain Pass maps. That is basically, that's just a collision error. The border should be a collision box, so you should be able to drive through it. It should be an invisible collision wall. But there are places where the developers thought that tanks couldn't go, so they didn't bother. Well, they can go there, which means you could drive outside the boundaries, which you should be able to do. Visual issues with Windstorm. Windstorm had a lot of problems. That's that most recent map. Fixed issues with the visual and damage models of some environmental objects. That's fine. Changing to vehicle characteristics. Armor protection. So the 183, in order to, because the FB 4005 has basically the same gun, they had to redefine the role of the 183. So they decreased the traverse speed and crossing capacity, which makes it slower. But they increased the armor of the turret / superstructure. It's not really a turret. They call it a rotating superstructure because it has a limited traverse angle. A turret, I believe under their definition, has a 360-degree rotation. So they call it a rotating superstructure instead. Basically, it got better turret armor. That's what they're saying there. Gameplay. Players will receive additional XP for damage caused to vehicles spotted by them if the spotted vehicle is of higher tier than the player's vehicle. This is basically for scouts, but it could be for anybody else. Basically, scouting was not giving enough experience for scouts. So they are increasing the amount of scouting experience you can get up to a certain percentage, which I think is good. I think that will encourage scouts to scout instead of sit in a corner or try and do damage or anything like that. This will increase the role of scouts, which I really appreciate. I don't know if everyone will do it, but it'll be good to have. Next, functionality of the minimap expanded. If any of you use XVM, you will always be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Familiar with this. Basically, they've added this sector of fire for artillery, which basically means artillery can now ping the map at where they're going to fire at. Which is awesome. I like that. A view vector, which shows kind of your range of view, so that where you're looking, where your turret can move, that kind of stuff. Then they're doing a display of vehicle names, so every marker will have a name next to it. So now you don't have to guess whether that heavy tank that you're spotting is an E100 or whether it's an FCM 50T. Now you know, because it'll say on the minimap. Also, there will be a point of last spotted, which is this, which XVM already does. So I'm not surprised that they added this in. Frankly, this is strongly decreasing the usefulness of XVM. I know personally I use it, but there's a good chance that I won't. Well, the problem is that I really like the carousel mod, so I can organize my vehicles a little bit better. So I'll probably continue to use XVM because of the carousel, which will be nice. I could care less about stats. I don't really make my decisions based on them. Maybe I should. Maybe that would get me into 53 or 54% win rate if I did, rather than the almost 52 I'm sitting right now. Warning for inaction in battle will now be issued only after 3 violations in a row. Which is fine. I like this. Basically, there were some issues where inaction in battle was being incorrectly flagged. So, this is good. Alright, so nice change here. I like these. I like these gameplay changes. I think that it will make the game better. Alright, graphics. Pretty basic stuff. Visual models for Moz, Yeg Panther, Fury, KV1S, 7-1, that's fine. Damage model fixed for the SU-14, whatever. Brightness and color of tracks, it's probably not big. Emblems and inscriptions, cool. People pay for that, so it's good they're changing that. Flickering of foliage, this is nice because sometimes this would get really annoying, where the foliage would flicker while you're zoomed in. This will be good. This fixed display of high detail shadows of some objects on low shadow quality preset, that will be really nice for those of us who have lower quality computers. Because if there were high detail shadows, that could really bring down your frame rate without you understanding why. So that'll be good for that. Added vehicles shadow being present, that's just minor graphical fanciness. I'm not sure what this is. That's okay. You don't know what this is. That's fine. I've never tested shooting at the water. Flickering of vehicle markers on the minimap. That's fine. Okay. End of reload sound volume increased. That's nice if you're listening for it, although the green circle is pretty obvious. But now you can listen for it if you're not focused on that, which is nice. Let's see. Minor changes to Stronghold gameplay. Special battle window interface improved. Interface of the recurring awarding of the mastery badge changed. The way this changed is that mastery badges, now if it's a new badge, it includes a little like ribbon underneath it. Otherwise, if you've got it before, it's just the standard badge. So it lets you know that you've improved your standing if you didn't know that already. It's a minor change, nothing too big. Effects of shells hitting the vehicle reworked. This is really, really general. My suspicion is that the holes you see in your armor are probably being changed. That would be my guess, although it's hard to say. Basically camouflage the quality of the image, the camouflage texture that you put on your tanks was improved when using improved graphics. That's nice. Racer 2014 medal move, that's fine. Condition text for Arsonist, Demolition Expert, and Kamikaze were changed. I think the conditions stayed the same. They just made it clearer. Some of these were kind of difficult to understand. More hints in the battle loading screen. That's nice because they were pretty basic. So it's nice to have a few more for newer players. And minor issues or whatever. Okay. Bug fixes and changes. Reduced game client memory consumption. That'll be nice for slower computers. Game sound loading was changed to reduce freezes. That's good. Streaming of music and ambient sounds from the hard disk at 0 volume level were disabled. I think this is basically that if you turn music and ambient sounds all the way off, originally it would still technically play them. It would just play them at 0 level. This now, if you set them to 0 volume level, it doesn't play the music or the sounds, which is perfect. Because if you don't want music, or maybe you need to, maybe your computer is slow enough that you need to turn music and sounds off in order to play, this will speed up your game. So again, it's another speed. Fix some bugs that would cause client hangups and crashes. This is awesome. I've had this happen to me a couple times. Fix freezes when displaying some special effects. Again, this has to do probably with computer power. Fixed issue with the capturing of screenshots in Windows upon pressing print screen or alt print screen with minimized World of Tanks client. I think what this is that when you hit print screen in World of Tanks, it takes a screenshot of tanks. But if you minimize the client, it probably means you're not trying to take a screenshot of World of Tanks. So this is basically it's a smart change that shouldn't have been a problem in the past, but it is now. Oh look, a friend of mine is online on Skype. Unloading World of Tanks XE from system processes after the client is closed. If you've ever closed your game only to have the game reopen for you, this is supposed to fix that. It's happened to me a bunch of times, and it pisses me off. So that should fix it. Calculation number hits of external modules, tax, and the gun and post-battle statistics. That's nice. This lets you know how many hits your track/gun absorbed, which is good. Basically, we're looking at 0 damage criticals in this case. Fixed issue with vehicles not receiving the elite status with all researched. That's probably tanks I don't own yet because I haven't had that problem. Fixed an issue with the vehicle model falling through the garage floor. I never had this problem either, but I have seen it happen, and that's kind of amusing. I'm glad they fixed that. Fixed issue with the platoon chat turning off upon disabling battle chat in random battle mode. That's frustrating. Yeah, platoon chat should never be turned off if you disable battle chat. So I'm glad that they've fixed that. Confederate medal is based on damaging X number of vehicles, so this is good because originally damaging a track didn't actually count as a damage because you did 0 damage to the vehicle, even though you're doing module damage. I'm glad that they've changed this so that it awards even if you just track. I've never seen this happen. It does say rare, but apparently there was a bug where the camera would just move to 0 coordinates, which is, I'm not sure where on the map, when you're switching between vehicles after you've died. That's amusing. This is also amusing that apparently if you had a critically damaged gun, you could break the depression angle restriction, which is kind of funny. Fixed issue with the inability to return a crew to the vehicle if the crew members who had previously been sent to the barracks filled the barracks to capacity. Yeah, that's a big bug. That's basically a -1 error in the coding, is what that is. Where because the barracks was at capacity, it counted as it was basically counting them as not being able to retrieve them when you did the returner crew. It's interesting. Okay, so that's basically that for the patch notes. There's not much else. The biggest thing, which, like I said, we'll cover in separate videos, are these ones here, right? The personal missions, and the new branch of British tank and tank destroyers. And those are in other videos, which is, as I said, I will link below and earlier in the video. And actually, I'll just link them right here too. All right, so big patch. I'm pretty excited about it, actually. It should be really fun. I'm really excited about the British TD line because I've personally been really frustrated with the grind so far. So I think it'll be fun. I've been pre-grinding my Archer or my Valentine, so I should have enough experience or very close for the Archer when it finally drops, which is really cool. Other than that, there's not much else. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them below. Otherwise, check out the other 2 videos that I did. Links are in the description, and you saw a couple of notifications probably if I remembered to do them right in the video itself. And check them out. Cool. 9.5 in the books. I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are too. Until next time, guys, you know where to find me. Happy tanking.